Hey everyone, I wanted to do a devotional from Luke 9. So in this particular chapter, Jesus and the disciples, they're in a desert place near the city of Bethsaida, and a huge crowd has followed Jesus, and Jesus is there preaching the gospel, and he's healing the sick. So then it starts to get later in the day, and disciples say to Jesus, send the people in town to get something to eat, because we're out here in this desert place and we don't have anything for them to eat. So this is what Jesus responds. Look at what he says. He says, you give them something to eat. He didn't say, okay, I'm going to send them down in town to a restaurant to get something to eat. He said, no, you give them something to eat. In other words, this was only going to happen through the power of Jesus, not through the disciples' own ability. But I think it's interesting how Jesus throws the responsibility back on the disciples. Earlier in this chapter, Jesus had already given them authority to heal the sick and over demons. Yet when they looked at the crowd, their response was, we only have 5 loaves and 2 fish. So unless we go in town and buy some food for the people. They were looking at the facts. They were looking at their resources. They were, looking at what they didn't have. But yet Jesus was looking at what God can do. Jesus took 5 loaves, 2 fish. He blessed them. He broke them and fed 5,000 people. And I want to encourage us today. Many times we're focused on what we don't have. We're looking at what we seek, while Jesus is asking us to use what he's already placed in our hands. The disciples already had authority that Jesus had given them, yet they were still looking at that. They only had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. How often do we do this? Many times we're waiting on Jesus to do something, but he's already placed things inside of us. Maybe it's like starting a business, changing careers, serving others, praying for the sick, or simply stepping out on faith, using the gifts that he's already given us. The disciples, again, they had authority that Jesus had given them. And today, as believers, we have the Holy Spirit inside of us, living inside of us. The question is, are we focused on our limitations? Are we trusting what God has given us? I hope this blesses you, and I'll see you in the next devotional.